So, Kenneth, did you know that future warming, perhaps driven by the oceanic warming or ozone recovery, will remove ice tongues or shelves, which will induce mussels elsewhere around Antarctica? Well, it will be only beginning because it will affect what we do or where we live. For example, Iceland will be underwater if global warming continues. And moreover, we will have to start driving cars and reduce fossil fuels as much as we can. Today, I am talking about climate change and how it affects penguins in Antarctica. Based on the articles which I read, it's proved that penguins are adapted to live in extreme environments. Nevertheless, they can be highly sensitive to climate change in many ways. In this sense, penguins are a perfect indicator to prove this climate fact. So I'll inform you about the annual breeding cycle of penguins in Antarctica, about the colonies, and then the causes of death. But first, let me explain you to climate modes, because this doesn't work. Yes. I will inform you about two climate modes because they affect the climate and also penguins. The first is Enso and the another one is Sam. This is just what they mean. Enso occurs in lower latitudes, and Enso has two sides. In one side there is more storms, the weather is warmer and there is less sea ice. On the other side, the weather is colder and there is more sea ice. And conversely, in Sam, it occurs in high latitudes, and in general it's the ozone hole which increases greenhouse gases. And if both of them work together, they increase wind, which causes sea ice to retreat. This is just what you need to know before I actually start. So now let's actually start with the annual breeding cycle of penguins in Antarctica, in which I will mention these subpoints. So Antarctica is the harshest environment on the Earth. During the winter, the land and seas are dark for 24 hours with a temperature lower than minus 40 degrees Celsius. And conversely, during summer, the land and seas, there is 24 hours of daylight, and the temperatures are from minus 20 to minus 3 degrees Celsius, and the life becomes easier. Penguins start their breeding cycle in the Antarctic spring, when males arrive earlier in October than females. However, bird arrival in colonies depends on the successes and timing on the previous year's breeding attempts. Once pregnant, females lay 1 or 2 eggs. Males incubate these eggs to the time when females return back with food. Males spend much of the incubation period motionless in dense huddles to conserve their body heat and energy, and it looks like this. It lasts 14 days to 2 months. It depends of the females. And however, in the Enso era, birds may not breed because they reproduce only in the coldest areas. In fact, during the Enso year, massive population of penguins died because the temperature was about 30 degrees Celsius. And they are able to adapt, but slowly. But this climate change is too fast. So now you can see how it actually looks like the whole year, what they do. And now when we know about the breeding system, we can continue with their colonies, in which I will mention these subpoints. So penguins are leaving their colonies because of climate change. They are used to choosing stable ice, which means immobile. However, because of increasing wind, increasing wind reduces sea ice, which force penguins to leave their colonies and travel somewhere else. And even though they can migrate from shore, this will result in larger trips, lower chick feeding frequencies, and lower breeding successes. Penguins are not fast walkers. However, because of their hydrodynamic body shape, they can swim at very high speeds. Consequently, they are addicted to open seas, and seas are the main source of their food, and also they protect them from predators that live on the Iceland. Here you can see their colonies. These are the colonies where they are, and these are the colonies which were abandoned. Antarctic krill is the most dominant prey for penguins. Historically, there were more than 150 million tons of krill. However, krill density has declined by 80% from the mid-1970s to the present because of climate change. Now we know about the colonies, so actually let's sum it up with their causes of death, in which I will again mention these points. Young chicks are laid in different nests. However, not every kind of nest is favorable in this various climate change. Because, for example, nest in soil is warmer, but rock nest protect penguins against rain, and willow nest protect penguins from overheating. In fact, 75% of penguins died when the temperature was above 30 degrees Celsius, and a chick has a minimal chance to survive in an inappropriate nest against rain if the chick's down and skin get wet. They need to create their plumage. So it means that it's almost impossible to find a perfect nest because the climate change is so different from day to day. And now let's sum it up. You can see how penguins are and will be affected. And because of climate change. Climate variability is the result of increased rainfall and the temperature extremes, increasing in the last 50 years. And even though they are able to adapt, they are just able to do it slowly. And which means that this climate change is faster than their habitats in colonies, than their breeding systems, finding food, and so on. Everything what I just told you. And the problem is that there is nothing much to do because they already live in the coldest place on the earth. And that's the point. Evidence shows that 75% of penguin colonies will disappear or decrease by 2050. So fewer colonies are equal to fewer penguins, which will result in their extinction. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.